Good afternoon and welcome to the Now South Florida. I'm Alana Quillen. The holiday weekend is here and many have already hit the road. We're looking live now along I-95 at Gateway Boulevard. But some of you may be spending Labor Day weekend at home, and the big question, will it be a washout? Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Steve Weigel with the answer. Steve?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about it, Alana. We have, of course, busy tropics, and we have a little rainfall on the radar that could be an issue for the commute home. Let's take a look at the tropics first. There are two main weather makers here. One is a potential tropical cyclone that is off the coast of Africa that we're keeping a close eye on. And the second one is this tropical wave that's cutting across the Caribbean that'll eventually work into South Florida. It appears Monday or early Tuesday. I would lean toward Monday, Labor Day. And potential tropical cyclone number 6, the latest forecast track. Now, this is something that is expected to become a tropical storm in the next 24 hours, maybe even at 5 o'clock today. It is a track that takes it into the central Atlantic and eventually develops it into a Category 1 hurricane. That would be about 5 days from now, 4 to 5 days from now, and it is starting to make that northwest turn. So on that track, it looks pretty good for us, but it's always, as always, especially when it's 3,600 miles away, we'll have to monitor it, but that's a nice turn there. Now, as far as the radar across South Florida, we do have a few showers, and we have seen a rumble of thunder, heard a rumble of thunder. Our temperatures are in the 80s, and not a whole lot for rainfall around. There's one little rain cell that's fizzling out before it hits the beaches, and the wider view up and down the coastline shows just sporadic, really stray, quick-moving showers. That's the story for tonight. We're going to talk about the forecast in detail coming up.
All right, that busy weekend underway. AAA says that as many as 35 million Americans will be traveling 50 miles or more for the Labor Day holiday weekend. You may notice prices at the pump are just a little bit higher. The Now's Tori Dunnan live on how you can save some cash when filling up. Tori?
Alana, people use all kinds of tricks to try to pay less at the pump. Some people will use cash instead of credit cards to save some money. Others say they turn to apps like Gas Buddy and Get Upside. Those let them know where they can find the cheapest gas and get money back as well. And of course, with Labor Day weekend comes an increase in prices. The national average, $2.83. For West Palm, the average is just a few cents higher than that.
I think they're on the uptick right now. I'd like to see them come down a little bit, but it's the holiday weekend, so they're going to go straight up.
The good news is that AAA does not expect those prices to stay up much after the holiday weekend. Coming up at 5 o'clock, though, we'll ask you if you think those apps actually work. We're live in Lake Worth. Tori Dunnan, the Now South Florida.
Today, family, friends, current and former Washington leaders saying goodbye to Senator John McCain. He's lying in state under the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. His daughter and his 106-year-old mother, both there at a ceremony to honor him before the public came in to pay their respects. His colleagues also honoring his life and his service.
He treated every issue with the intensity the people's business deserved. He would fight tooth and nail for his vision of the common good.
This is one of the bravest souls our nation has ever produced.
Vice President Mike Pence also spoke today, saying that President Donald Trump respected the late senator's service to the country. One break from protocol today was this bipartisan wreath laying with the Senate Minority Leader joining the Senate Majority Leader, which typically doesn't happen, but McCain asked for it. And the Now's Corey Rangel has been talking with people lined up to pay their respects to McCain.
Outside the U.S. Capitol, hundreds of everyday Americans lined up to give a final salute to Senator John McCain.
He's just too good of a person not to be here for him.
Gary Galloway drove 680 miles to be here.
He was an American patriot. He was a veteran just like me. Both of us fought in Vietnam.
Gary says he felt a personal connection to McCain's service, both in war and in Congress.
Well, the first thing I'll do, I'll salute him and tell him I love him.
Why is this emotional?
I lost a brother.
Other veterans, like Barbara Lively, also did not let distance stop them from honoring Senator McCain.
I came from Kentucky to do this, and I would have come from Alaska, if that's what it would have taken. But I wanted to show my respect and say my goodbyes.
For Barbara and many others here, McCain's impact could be felt not just in Arizona, but across the country.
He was the Americans' senator. Yes, he represented the state of Arizona, but when he worked for the American people.
He's left a roadmap for us to follow. It would be shameful for his fellow members not to live up to his legacy.
I just hope that people reflect back on his legacy and try to continue, because they got some big shoes to fill.
For The Now, I'm Corey Rangel.
Today, I caught up with an Air Force veteran who spent time in a Vietnamese prisoner of war camp with the late Senator McCain. Melvin Pollock and Senator McCain spent time in adjacent cells in Hanoi, Vietnam in 1967 and 1968. Today, Pollock told me about the brotherhood he and Senator McCain shared.
He was one of us, and we're all striving to survive hell.
Now I'll have much more of our conversation about that late senator and the relationship they had coming up at 6 o'clock. We've also learned when the former Palm Beach Gardens police officer will go to trial for the killing of a local drummer nearly 3 years ago. Newman Raj's trial is scheduled to start February 22nd and is expected to last 3 weeks. Raja is accused of killing Corey Jones in October 2015 when Jones's vehicle broke down on I-95 near the PGA Boulevard off-ramp.
Let's get to the Now news feed. A lot of information to get you here quickly. And President Trump signing an executive order to make it easier for small businesses to give their employees retirement benefits. This move will let businesses join together to offer plans. California police taking down a suspect who was streaking. Yeah, caught naked. This man had run from a suspected stolen truck. It is still unclear why this guy didn't have any clothes on. Well, here's a direct impact of the trade war with China, as Ford says it's no longer going to import its Focus crossover from China. Vehicle was set to go on sale next summer. But what a scene today as the Queen of Soul laid to rest in Detroit. Smokey Robinson, the Clintons, Reverend Jesse Jackson, all in attendance. And what a star-studded lineup. Some of the performers including Faith Hill, Stevie Wonder, Jennifer Hudson, and Ariana Grande singing Franklin's hits. Yeah, what a scene. And how about this sight right here? Dozens of pink Cadillacs lining the streets in honor of Aretha Franklin. Now, the owners of these cars honoring her song Freeway of Love, where she references her pink Cadillac. Today, Reverend Al Sharpton spoke of Aretha's talents, but also her activism.
She never shamed us. She never disgraced us. She never made us make excuses for her. She represented the best in our community, and she fought for our community until the end.
Now, at the funeral, the mayor of Detroit announced one of the city parks along the Detroit River will be named after her. Oh, it is a busy day, already off to a busy start. Here's what else is going on in our lineup today. The FDA is out with a new warning about foods with liquid nitrogen, which have been very trendy this summer, from ice cream to cocktails. We're going to tell you about this warning. And we need to update you on new safety guidelines when it comes to keeping kids safe in cars. Some important information there. Also, do you feel like you have just more stuff around the house these days? Some experts blaming online shopping. So we're going to be talking to an expert about how to declutter our homes. And as we do head into this long holiday weekend, we're in Key West. People there, they keep the island running, but they're facing a mini housing crisis nearly a year after Hurricane Irma. So we'll be talking about their struggles and a possible solution on the horizon. We do have lots to get to. You're watching The Now. Welcome back to The Now. I'm Chris Stewart, and another big change for parents with kids in the car. The American Academy of Pediatrics wants kids to stay facing backwards in car seats longer. Now, as investigative reporter Jace Larson on this one for us, and another change. Here we go, Jace.
Yeah, nothing about car seats is simple. You have to pick out the right one, then you have to install it, make sure that your child is buckled in properly. Well, here is what you need to know to keep your child safe. First of all, forget the age. That's the old way of doing things. Now you only need to be concerned about a child's size, because we know that kids grow at different speeds, right? Check out the car seats manual. It will say, for example, to keep the seat rear facing until the child weighs more than 40 or 50 pounds. You want to do this because it's proven in crash tests that children fare better when they're facing the back seat, even if they have long legs. We talked to the group Safe Kids Worldwide. They say most car seats today are designed to accommodate larger kids for a longer amount of time. And the sooner you flip them around, you're going to lose a little bit of the safety in all of that. But the two most important things that you need to remember are make sure that no matter their size, they can't wiggle out of the belt, and don't try to parent while driving.
And you made a really good point earlier when you talked about you can't see their faces. That's very true. But when you're driving, your eyes need to be looking front and center. You shouldn't be doing childcare and worrying about what the baby's doing in the back seat.
Taking your eyes off the road is more dangerous than not having a child perfectly strapped in. For installation and some other simple tests that you can do to make sure your child is strapped in correctly, just head on over to the internet and go to safekids.org.
All right, Jace, thank you. And if you're trying to shop online, you see an item is out of stock, it might actually be that it's just too far from your home. Turns out, Walmart's sending out of stock messages if an item is just too expensive to ship. And usually it's smaller items we're talking about here, like maybe a bottle of soap, some pet food. Instead, Walmart will suggest similar items in a warehouse nearby. Well, a lot of deals, of course, this Labor Day weekend, but which ones are actually worth your money? Wallet Hub with a list. Check some of them out right here. Now, if you didn't shop around already for a new laptop for the new school year, here's your chance to do it because Dell is selling its Inspiron 3000 laptop for 35% off. Now costs $129.99. Well, are you shopping for a new TV? Hey, so you can watch them now, right? Well, Best Buy has a 32-inch Insignia that's 27% off, and that's now at $129. Now, if you are trying to maybe redo your kitchen, how about this one? Because BJ's selling this Whirlpool dishwasher at $299. That is a 43% discount. Pretty good. And if none of those items are on your wish list, financial experts say you want to stock up for next year. So think summer clothes, patio furniture, home improvement supplies. And if you are trying to save, use cash or a debit card because customers with credit cards, they tend to spend more.
All right, thanks, Chris. We are looking at some showers coming in along the coastline this evening and looking nice as far as temperatures. We're still in the mid 80s and high 80s. We do cool off into the 70s for your overnight lows, and most of the rain and the thunderstorms on the west coast of Florida. We tracking an earlier shower there. It is right there, but it's completely fizzled out as it reaches the beaches. What usually happens this time of year as we get into sunset and after sunset, some of those showers hold together. So an evening little rain cell possible, but not expecting anything widespread. There's another one that's just popped up, most of it just to the west of Okeechobee right now. So you can see it's not very active around the area. Here's the hour-by-hour forecast. Sunshine continues, or at least partly sunny. A little breezy along the beach. Temperatures slowly cooling off. And in the tropics, we have potential tropical cyclone number 6 off the coast of Africa. And we also have this weather maker here, this tropical wave that's bringing heavy rainfall now, Dominican Republic and Haiti, that eventually sweeps across South Florida. It has about a 10% chance of developing as it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, but that's not until the middle of next week. So this will enhance our rain chances Labor Day and Tuesday of next week. So as you fire up the grill on Labor Day, you may be running into some wet weather because of that. And we'll talk more about that coming up.
Well, this weekend, family and friends will say goodbye to one of the victims of Sunday's shooting at a video game tournament in Jacksonville. Taylor Robinson will be laid to rest Sunday in Peterson, West Virginia. He and Elijah Clayton were killed when a gunman opened fire at a Madden NFL 19 tournament at Jacksonville Landing. There's a video game tournament tonight at the Microsoft store in the Town Center Mall in Boca Raton. And in light of what happened in Jacksonville, we wanted to know how the mall plans to keep those in attendance safe. The Now's Andrew Lofholm live in Boca Raton with a look at how security is going ahead of the event. Andrew?
Hey, good afternoon, Alana. So tonight is a Fortnite tournament. It's that popular shooting game. The event here starts tonight at 5:30. Now, The mall sent us a statement. They really wouldn't provide too much information, but they did confirm to us, as well as Boca Raton Police, that they will be working together here in this event. And with any event, security, the statement said that they adhere to a strict security protocol, including patrols and closed circuit television surveillance that they do provide here. Now, the mall will not disclose information whether bags would be allowed inside the event or not. Now, there will be another gaming tournament tomorrow night focused around a different game, and then Sunday night another game after that. That game Sunday night will be Halo 5. Online, 3 people have RSVP'd to this event. We're live in Boca Raton. Andrew Lofholm for the Now South Florida.
Thanks, Andrew. A company is using foam to battle the algae crisis along the Gulf Coast. Aquaflex put foam in the water 2 weeks ago to suck up all of the toxins out of the water. The company just pulled the foam out and started testing it, and so far the company says it's working.
It's made of a foamed polymer that at the molecular level attracts oil like a magnet and repels clear water.
Aquaflex now wants to expand its testing area and intends to be back out on the water next week. The Martin County School Board is holding an emergency meeting next week. School board members must change wording for the sales surtax referendum that will appear on the November ballot. The current language indicates that if the proposal passes, the surtax would begin February of next year. The Department of Revenue says the surtax would take effect in January.
Let's get to the Now news feed. Energy drinks, they can be controversial in our country, but in England, they're so controversial they could be banned for anyone under 18. Government worrying that it damages a child's health. Law enforcement taking cases of sexual contact on flights very seriously, and 2 men charged in different cases on flights headed to Seattle. They're accused of groping women who were sitting next to them. The FBI says the number of cases like these are on the rise. Well, could there soon be a cure for muscular dystrophy? Doctors use gene editing technology to fix the disease in a dog. It's the first time it's been able to be used on a large animal, and the hope is this eventually could be used for humans. All right, well, usually when you find a bug in your food, if you're at a restaurant, the meal is over, you are out of there. But in other cultures, eating bugs, it's pretty common. And the Smithsonian's actually teaching people about it, and you don't have to go to a museum to actually learn about it.
We are going to make cookies with cricket flour. And the kind of cookies that we're making, I call Tropical Delight.
Yeah, she said cricket flour, which is apparently a good source of protein. Don't know how it tastes, though. This week, SmithsonianChannel.com started streaming a series called Bug Bites. It's a cooking show with various chefs who are cooking with bugs. And the videos explain not only what the bugs are, where they come from, but the different reasons why people decide to eat them for food. Look at that. Not really sure, though, anyone's really ready for the tarantula tempura. I am surely not ready for that one. Ugh. All right, Starbucks trying to win back customers by trimming down the calories and sugar that's in their Frappuccinos. Now, the new 16-ounce Frap, it has 370 calories and 49 grams of sugar. Right now, they're only testing the healthier Fraps in 3 states. 49 grams of sugar, though, that is still a lot, but it is less than Dunkin's Culottes. They have anywhere between 59 and 122 grams of sugar, which is the same as eating almost 5 regular glazed donuts. All right, next in our lineup here, that warning from the FDA about foods using liquid nitrogen, which has been very trendy this summer, from ice cream to cocktails. We're going to break down this new warning when the Now continues. Welcome back, and you've probably seen it around the mall. Maybe your kids have bugged you to buy some ice cream made with liquid nitrogen. The FDA is sending out a warning about this type of food, and the Now's Andy Taylor breaking down what you need to know.
Listen, I totally get why these foods are all the rage right now. They are pretty cool, but the FDA is telling us they could actually be really bad for us. Even though liquid nitrogen is not toxic, we all know it can hurt or even damage our skin because of the low temperature. But get this, our internal organs can also be affected. Inhaling the vapor can make it harder to breathe, especially if you have asthma. And some of the foods are hard to tell if they even are made with liquid nitrogen because they're labeled with cooler names like Dragon's Breath or Heaven's Breath, and there are others too. But if you've eaten food with nitrogen and believe it might have made you sick, well, the FDA actually wants to hear about it. The FDA is still trying to fully understand the effects liquid nitrogen has on people.
All right, Annie, thank you. We do have a lot more to get to in our lineup, but we're talking to a specialist about how to keep our homes from getting too cluttered. Some experts think our online shopping habits are just filling our homes with junk. Maybe you can relate to that. We'll break it down next. You're watching The Now. Welcome back to The Now. I'm Chris Stewart, and two big stories that we're updating right now. The first is Senator John McCain lying in state at the U.S. Capitol. He's only the 31st person to get this honor, the 13th senator. McCain's memorial service is tomorrow at Washington National Cathedral, and former presidents Barack Obama and George W. Bush expected to speak. He'll be buried Sunday at the Naval Academy Cemetery. It'll be next to his longtime friend and Academy classmate. Now, Aretha Franklin, a legend, of course, in the music world, honored for hours today at a star-studded funeral in Detroit. It included dozens of musical tributes from big names like Jennifer Hudson, Stevie Wonder, and Ariana Grande. Former President Bill Clinton and Reverends Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson spoke.
All right, we are looking at a nice start to the weekend. We do have a little bit of rainfall in your forecast as we get into the evening, here and there, popping up on the radar. Otherwise, not too bad across South Florida this evening. Temperatures will eventually cool off into the high 70s for your overnight lows. There's a look at the close-up across the Treasure Coast. Little spotty shower just west of Okeechobee now. And in the tropics, two weather makers. It looks like this one here that is moving across the Caribbean will eventually have an impact on our weather as it brings us higher rain chances getting into Monday or Tuesday. I would lean toward Labor Day Monday with at least some of the higher rains, or at least high rain chances, more numerous storms firing up. And Tuesday certainly looks like a soggy day here. We can actually use the rainfall on the coastline. As we wrap up August, we're several inches below normal along the coastline. And we have potential tropical cyclone number 6. Here's the latest on it as it moves across the Atlantic. It is expected to eventually become a hurricane out about 4 to 5 days from now, but it is also making a turn toward the northwest. We monitor it, but at this point it doesn't appear to be any kind of issue for our weather here in South Florida. So more sunshine on the way for Saturday and Sunday. Looking good, Alana.
Great, Steve. Thank you so much. Erin Brockovich is bringing her activism to Florida next month. There are no specific dates or times, but our partners at TC Palm report Brockovich will visit a number of ecological disasters on the East Coast. Brockovich has been vocal about Florida's water problems, including red tide on the Gulf Coast and an algae disaster on both coasts. We'll let you know when more information comes out. Palm Beach County School Police arrested this man last night who they say tried to bring a loaded gun into the football game at Palm Beach Lakes High School. According to the report, Joshua Bland had the gun on him when he tried to go through security. He told police he had a concealed weapons permit but forgot he wasn't allowed to bring the gun on school property. That incident came just one day before tonight's home game at Palm Beach Central High School. This is the first home game since a shooting outside the game 2 weeks ago. The Now's Jillian Idle is live at Palm Beach Central with what students are saying ahead of the game. Jillian?
Alana, I talked to several families picking up their kids today at school. Now, they tell me that with all this added security, they do feel safe, but some aren't ready to come back to a game here, at least anytime soon. However, the district says changes in security are working. They no longer allow bags or purses inside any high school stadium, instead requiring clear bags similar to NFL games. Tonight, you can also expect to see more security officers throughout the stadium and at the entrance gates. Talking to students who were at the game last time, they say teachers did bring it up today at school, but that they stressed everything will be okay.
To be safe and not bring backpacks and stuff.
Yeah, and they assured us that they were checking bags.
Yeah, and like security is gonna be bumped up.
I'm still terrified of what happened last Friday, so I don't think I'll be going.
Now the game does start tonight at 6 o'clock, that new time. Part of the changes in security, they believe adding extra daylight will allow them to control fans more, but also keep a better eye on everyone. Want to let you know we also went ahead and checked in with PBSO. As far as this investigation goes, they tell us there are no new leads tonight. Live in Wellington, Jillian Idle for the Now South Florida.
Thanks, Jillian. The University of Connecticut Marching Band honored a Parkland school shooting victim during its halftime performance. Take a look. Spelling out the name Alex on the football field. That was one of Alex Schachter's favorite songs. He wanted to go to UConn, but that dream was cut short when he was killed during February's shooting. His father thanked the band before they took the field.
In my deepest, darkest hour, when I, have such anger and hate towards everybody, to receive this act of kindness, from the band director and all the kids here, I'll never forget. So that's why I'm here to thank them.
Alex's dad is now raising money to set up a scholarship in his name to send future students to UConn. Take a look at this. A kite surfer in St. Petersburg alive today thanks to a Good Samaritan in the U.S. Coast Guard. The Samaritan on shore saw the surfer in distress and contacted the Coast Guard. They quickly jumped into action, found the surfer, as you can see, and threw him a line. That surfer a little bit shaken up, but he was not hurt. Ashley Walters joining me now. It's always neat to see those videos of them in action, that body cam video that you would never get to see otherwise.
Right place, right time, right there.
I think he is safe. So what are we looking at for 5 o'clock?
Okay, so of course we know that football is big around here, big all around the nation, but tonight a new study is shedding some light on why this sport could actually be in jeopardy in the future. And News Channel 5's Jillian Idle is breaking down why football players are now opting out of the program and turning to other sports, and also what's being done to make sure the sport is kept alive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to tune in for that at 5 o'clock. Thanks so much, Ashley. Okay.
Well, Target, it's not just a store, it's an activity. You walk in looking for one thing, you come out with everything. Well, Annie Taylor's here with how that's not a mistake, how they're trying to control your mind.
Okay, so it might not be a voodoo mind trick, but Target has made some changes so you spend more on those random but discounted items, like that magnetic succulent plant that's now on your refrigerator. So some of Target's strategies are obvious, like putting all the discounted items near the register or putting them near each other. Psychologists say that Target also tries to get into your brain with strategic pricing, and you're more likely to buy something that ends with the number 9. That could be why you always see prices that are $9.99 instead of $10 there. It makes you feel like you're getting a deal. And that also means you're less likely to price check other items around the store. There's a reason for bright colors too. The pops of color can make people happy, and when you're happy, I guess you spend more money. And also, Target is creating different entrances. One entrance will be made for shoppers who are just popping in to get their online orders or even groceries, but hopefully that means that you'll be less tempted to pick up extra things. I always pick up extra things though, so.
Yeah. Well, it always ends up like right as you're going through the checkout line, you end up just picking more and more stuff up. But it really just isn't Target. There was a recent headline actually saying that online shopping, I will say the headline a little aggressive, saying that Americans are being turned into hoarders because of online.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as saying hoarders, but if you're like me and you love to online shop, we're accumulating a lot of stuff, and I actually talked with an organizational expert about ways to declutter our homes to deal with our new online shopping reality.
Getting a package delivered has become a ritual for most Americans. It also means we're buying online items and bringing new stuff into our homes all the time.
But are we actually getting rid of our old stuff?
Clicking it once for Amazon and poof, you just ordered it and it's on the way already. It's so easy.
Megan Siddle with Streamlined Living Colorado says online shopping has made it easier for people to buy more than they need, and in return, that can make a cluttered house.
You want to set yourself up for success to be able to declutter, because like you said before, sometimes people are so overwhelmed they don't know where to start.
If you don't want to feel overwhelmed, Megan says to start with a drawer. Yes, everyone has a junk drawer, and if you can declutter this mess, then you can move on to bigger messes.
So many people purchase those containers and those bins and those boxes with the good intentions of getting organized.
Megan suggests holding off on purchasing containers.
If you declutter first and then see what you have left to organize, then buy those products that you want, like the containers and the boxes and the cute bins.
No one's gonna tell me to stop online shopping, and one of my favorite things to do is buy doubles of all my favorite products. But Megan says if you're gonna do that, keep your container small so that you're not cluttering up an entire closet.
51% of Americans admit they have a cluttered home, according to storage company Sparefoot. And that's why Megan is a big advocate on getting organized with your online purchases.
It can lead to anxiety and depression and having a hard time focusing. Having a cluttered bedroom absolutely can affect your sleep in a negative way.
Maybe you take this 3-day weekend to go through your things and begin decluttering before you head back to the computer. For the Now, I'm Annie Taylor.
Hey, good information there, Annie. Thank you. Let's get back to our lineup here. And coal jobs just always seem to be a hot topic. And today, we're in a Kentucky coal town where people waited for jobs to return, and they have. Coal country is hiring. We're going to talk about it next here on The Now. Welcome back to The Now. I'm Chris Stewart, and there's been a nationwide debate about coal jobs. Some people got tired of waiting and trained for new jobs, but others, they have been holding out, and it looks like it's paying off. The coal mines are hiring again in one Kentucky town, and The Now's Nicole Vowell takes us there.
The home of Kentucky coal can be found here on the state's east side. The city of Hazard in Perry County, one of the top 3 coal-producing areas within the Bluegrass border. It's also a place hit hardest by the gradual collapse of the coal industry.
I mean, it's just tearing everything apart.
Mayor Jimmy Linden has called Hazard his home his entire life and has seen what coal cutbacks have done to his neighbors.
Some of the miners are making $20-some an hour. And when these mines shut down, you take that and compare it to unemployment.
To give you an idea of the drastic decline, coal jobs here in 2016 tanked to the lowest they've been in over a century. Right now, unemployment sits at 7.3%, close to twice the national average. 6 years ago, this mine employed over 600 people, but a few years ago, that number dramatically dropped. Massive layoffs cut their staff by 2/3 to under 200. But the hit to jobs in Hazard is softening slowly.
And this is also where we load our coal out on trains that's shipped.
Eric Lewis considers himself one of the lucky ones.
I've been very lucky. I wasn't affected by any of the layoffs in the mining industry.
There aren't many of you.
There's not.
He gives us a tour of one of the prized black gold producers in Hazard, Perry County Coal. His bread and butter.
This is the finished product here.
Lewis has worked several jobs on the surface and underground and has seen the rise and fall firsthand.
It's just been a lot of changes.
But the most recent change here is one he can embrace.
It's Teresa.
Teresa Blair does the hiring here.
Yes, dear.
And yes, they are hiring.
It sure is a lot more fun to hire than it is to lay people off.
This sign went up 4 weeks ago, and instantly eager prospects started rolling in.
We probably got 100 applications in the first 7 working days.
Right now, the plan is to fill 120 positions and keep going to keep those holding out happy.
I've done a lot of rehiring. I've hired some of those people back that stayed. It's wonderful to be able to put people back to work.
Hope, it's what seems to be keeping Hazard going.
When you care about people and you care about your little coal community and you see it go down so far, and then to see it making its way back gives you some hope.
And after handling an industry that hit rock bottom, the biggest hope of all is to keep hope alive.
I love to hear that whistle blow.
Especially here in the home of Kentucky coal.
You gotta have hope. So let's dig in and see what we can do.
For The Now, I'm Nicole Vowell.
All right, Nicole, thank you. Let's get to the Now news feed and look at some of the stories to note today. And a Montana federal judge temporarily blocking trophy hunters from targeting grizzly bears in Yellowstone. be the first hunt of these bears in 40 years. Wyoming and Idaho had scheduled to allow the hunts on their sides of Yellowstone on Sunday. And here's just another example of how robots really are the future, as Ford now using drones to do inspections of factory equipment in London. Work takes a human 12 hours to do it. These drones, only 12 minutes. Daylight saving time could be history in Europe. The EU looking at keeping their clocks the same year round. Countries can pick whether they want to keep the light more in the morning or at night.
All right, we are watching some showers along the coastline, and we also have, of course, in the tropics, a couple of weather makers that we'll watch into the weekend too. One of them, the tropical wave that is pushing across the Caribbean, could have an impact on our weather heading into Labor Day. There's a look at the radar, the current radar, and you can see, well, let me zoom in here. I want to show you the showers that have fired up, a quick shower that has worked its way in across Delray, Atlantic Avenue and the Turnpike, headed into 441. There's Lantana there. So it's about 30 seconds of rainfall, and then it's completely gone. That's what we're dealing with through the evening. So if you have outdoor plans, you're firing up that grill tonight, you are looking at some pretty nice weather. Invite me over. All right, there's a look at our satellite, and we have two tropical systems. There's one that is bringing some rainfall now. Haiti and the Dominican Republic has about a 10% chance of developing. I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. It's going to have an impact on our weather because it sweeps some rain in on Labor Day and Tuesday. And this was just updated. This is now a tropical depression forecast to become Tropical Storm Florence on the weekend. And a turn toward the northwest is also expected, so I'll monitor it, but it doesn't appear to be any threat, at least not at this point. And that's your weather. More coming up in a few minutes.
Thanks, Steve. A quick update for you. The recount is over in Boca Raton. We have confirmed Andy Thompson has won a city council seat. That is for District A. On Election Day, Thompson led Kathy Cottrell by just 3 votes. Election officials spent all day counting roughly 1,500 ballots by hand to determine that winner. Well, it may have had its heyday back in the 1980s, but breakdancing has never gone away. As the Now's John Shaman shows you this afternoon, a group of local kids is after bragging rights with the help of West Palm Beach police.
The sounds of the street mixing with the sounds of the beat. Inside West Palm Beach's Police Athletic League building, a dance crew is taking shape.
Bring it over, bring it over, bring it over, bring it over.
No athletic gear needed, but athleticism is a plus.
Now switch completely. Yes!
I feel like I'm breakdancing and I'm on YouTube.
The idea behind this breakdance crew is Officer Johan Donawas.
I'm big into dancing, kept me out of trouble.
That's what I'm talking about.
Officer Donawa is getting his crew prepared for their first breakdance competition this weekend.
Gives them an opportunity to be creative. They could learn their own style, build from that, and it lets them show people who they are.
It also lets Officer Donawa show the kids who he is.
Yes. They get to see me in a different aspect, from an officer to somebody who's actually doing something that they would do or they like or they're interested in.
When we fall down, he brings us right back up. I'll do a 1, 2, 3 step. Then after that, I'm gonna keep going, then reverse.
Left foot. Gonna bring underneath you.
Even though this crew's only been together a few weeks, they've come a long way.
There's a lot of talent in West Palm that unfortunately doesn't get showed all the time. Gives them an opportunity to come out and represent and bring their skills out to the best.
1, 2, 3.
For the Now South Florida, I'm John Shainman.
Love seeing that relationship between police. The second annual bragging rights competition is this Sunday at 5 p.m. at City Place. Dancers will be competing for $1,000 in cash and prizes.
It may not necessarily be wedding season right now, but it is spending season for a lot of couples. CNBC saying August, where couples end up signing for loans to cover their wedding costs, as they're most likely planning a fall wedding. Now, the average price tag for a wedding in the U.S., $25,000. Couples in Mississippi, they're spending the least around 15 grand. And Hawaii, which is really beautiful, certainly expensive, as the typical wedding cost there, close to 40 grand. Well, it is common to get a loan for your big day, but financial experts with MainStreet.com, they warn against it. They say signing up for a loan should be a last-ditch effort. Better off really extending your engagement so you can save more. But they do say that a loan is still better than a credit card. Well, everybody, of course, wants a well-behaved dog, and the trick to getting one without having to spend a lot of money, well, it comes down to where you adopt. Some dogs that are available have already been trained by the best. They just didn't quite make it for a career in law enforcement or service. So on Monday, here on The Now, where you can find one of those dogs. But finally in our lineup, we're going to head down to Key West. The people there facing really a mini housing crisis. Remember, it's been almost a year since Hurricane Irma. We're going to be taking a look at their struggle and a possible solution. You're watching The Now. All right, let's get to the Now news feed. Some important information for you here. And next time you're at a cookout and bees are just swarming the foods that were maybe treated with pesticides at one point, could be because they're addicted. Researchers say that bees get hooked just like we do to nicotine, and it can impact their ability to reproduce and live long. Coca-Cola getting into the coffee game. The soda maker buying coffee chain Costa, more than $5 billion on that price tag. Coke is trying to compete with the likes of Starbucks and trying to offer healthier drinks. Well, it's not just machines that need to be more earth-friendly. Researchers are trying to make cows' manure healthier. They say it can contain potentially potent greenhouse gas. Researchers now feeding cattle seaweed to see if that helps. Well, it has been nearly a year since Hurricane Irma hit the Florida Keys. Yeah, that video of just the damage, so tough to watch right there. And many people, they are still struggling to recover. And the Now's Kamasi Aaron spoke with one group of people who are trying to help people who are still looking for a home.
Hello. It wasn't this easy for Alicia Miller to smile about a year ago.
It was hard. We lost everything.
Hurricane Irma destroyed her home in the Florida Keys.
We are still struggling.
And while she's working a full-time job, she can't afford now the type of house she lived in then.
I couldn't get that it would be double. Housing has it's doubled in price.
The storm destroyed thousands of homes, making one of Florida's most expensive places to live even more so.
Oh, yeah.
And people like Alicia, who keep the tourism industry in the Keys afloat, are feeling it most.
My coworkers, they're still living with their families. Their houses got destroyed and rent shot up.
Since the storm, officials say it's hard to find a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home for less than $2,500 a month. Help is on the way. A new 200-unit workforce housing complex is going to start going up pretty soon, not too far away from here. And there are going to be more cottages like these.
We are in the First Keys cottage. It is a 760 square foot house.
Marianne Casado designed this 2-bedroom cottage that will serve as workforce housing.
This is the master bedroom.
In just a few weeks, a family will move in.
It's a living, dining, kitchen area here.
And pay no more than 1/3 of their household income in rent.
I really didn't work. I was a mom and I played a lot of tennis.
The homes were Maggie Whitcomb's idea. Living in the Keys and working as a waitress in college, she felt moved to help after the storm.
I used to be one of those people. You know, I feel like deep down I still am.
She and her husband donated money to start the Florida Keys Community Land Trust, which purchased lots around the Keys with the goal of building and renting out 9 homes like these by the end of the year, and even more as time goes on.
And I'm really hoping that people will learn about it and that they will realize that they need to care about this. These are the people who make the Keys what they are.
This team says it doesn't have to take a storm for people to step up.
Then the question is, well, how do you take that and do it without the storm? You know, why are we waiting in other places in America that haven't had a disaster? Why are we waiting?
A tiny home.
The height will make a huge difference.
Aiming to make a tiny but powerful impact. In the Florida Keys, I'm Kamasi Aaron for The Now.
And that'll do it for us today. I'm Chris Stewart. The News at 5 is next.
Now from WPTV, this is News Channel 5 at 5.
Well, right now, blue skies and dry weather for folks hitting the road right now for the start of the Labor Day weekend, the unofficial end of summer. You're seeing I-95 at Gateway Boulevard right there. And this system here in the tropics, it could put a damper on those afternoon